Day is men and masculinity.
Yes, yes, with ADHD and other details. Yeah.
Okay,
So, shall we start?
sure.
Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mind Over Masculinity, the podcast where we dive deep into the untold struggles and triumphs of men's mental health. I'm your host Avik, and today we are tackling a topic that hits home for so many men living with ADHD. But we are not just scratching the surface here, but we are going deep into the stressors, solutions, and yes, even the breakthroughs that men with ADHD experience. And who better to guide us than our guest today, Jeremy Van Worth? So, welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to chat about this.
Lovely, lovely. So, uh, I mean, before we start our conversation, I'd quickly love to introduce you to all of our listeners. Dear listeners, Jeremy is a licensed marriage and family therapist with over 15 years of experience, a former CEO who climbed the corporate ladder from security guard to the top office, an author, and a podcast host himself. So he's also an expert in psychedelic medicine and healing, bringing a fresh perspective to what it means to truly thrive with ADHD. And oh, I mention he's a former heavy metal band member and a cross country cyclist? Wow. So, Jeremy, welcome to the show. I can't wait to dive deep into this incredible story and your insights into the world of ADHD.
Thank you so much. I've done a few things.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, So, Jeremy, like you have mentioned, being a rebellious kid with undiagnosed ADHD. So, can you take us back to that time? I mean, what were the biggest challenges you faced growing up, and how did ADHD impact your early life?
Early in the 1980s was when I started attending school and having a lot of difficulty being able to listen, always having myself distracted, and having just a difficult time with my peers. And teachers noticed it, and I was always in trouble. And my mother had me tested, and I did receive a diagnosis of ADHD. And in the early 1980s, this was something that was relatively new. And
Mhm,
so the medication at the time was Ritalin. And it was
mhm,
placed on this, and it did a marginal job of helping me. But I would say to really to answer your question, through
mhm,
all of my school time, somewhere deep inside me, I knew that I was bright and capable, but I could not concentrate, and I didn't know why. I was just constantly distracted, and I
mhm,
wasn't able to focus on anything that wasn't just really interesting to me. And so,
mhm,
whether it was art or music, I really excelled in these kinds of things, but I couldn't
mhm,
sit there and read a book. Incidentally, I'm 48 years old now, and I still struggle with those same things, and I overcome them through technology, and we'll get to that in a moment. But one of the things that just really stalked me and the biggest challenge for me was rejection from my
mhm.
peers. That was
Ah,
really the hardest thing. And, I
mhm,
had all of these problems with academics and everything, even though one-on-one, I was able to perform, at
mhm,
a very high level. When I was in a room full of 32 kids, it was absolutely impossible for me to focus on something, whether I was in the first grade or I
mhm,
was in a high school classroom. By the time that I was in class in high school, I had virtually given up that I
mhm,
was smart or that I was really going to get anywhere. And I really wasn't looking at a career that was going
mhm,
to be particularly challenging in any way, because by that point I had suffered so many letdowns and setbacks that
mhm,
it just felt like I wasn't really going to be a successful person, and got myself going into, I became a security guard and
uh-huh,
was really good at dealing with people because I could serve people, talk to them, get them where they needed to go, and not just simply escalate on them, which is a lot of what tends to happen in those situations.
mhm,
And I was able to get myself going kind of in more corporate level jobs until I, did
mhm,
climb the the corporate ladder. I got two master's degrees and ended up as a CEO. And all of these years in between were me having these little epiphanies going, you know what? I think I'm smart. I think I'm smart,
Mm.
but I still struggle with this. I still struggle with that. But if I can rely upon this technology, if I can use that technology, all of a sudden I'm getting the information. I'm able to retain this stuff. I'm able to write good research papers. I'm able to do great proposals and I can present things in class. And I was able to run through my career and be really, really successful compensating for things that I had
Mm.
no ability to compensate for when I was a little boy. And that was the hardest thing is the rejection and not knowing what to do to overcome a lot of these problems with distraction and hyperactivity.
Okay. And okay, so like uh I think so many men listening might be nodding along right now, realizing like how often we downplay our struggles, or brush them aside just how we are. So your journey definitely makes it clear that awareness is the first step towards transformation. Yeah. So also ADHD can feel like chaos, or maybe especially in high stakes environments like the corporate world. So, as someone who's been as a CEO, how do you navigate that pressure while managing the ADHD?
No, it's very, very difficult. And particularly with a high level job like CEO, you're being pulled in a lot of different directions. And the ADHD mind really wants to meet every single challenge as it comes. And you're kind of tend to end up getting stuck in the moment, dealing with every single thing as it comes. And you have to really work to pull yourself back, be
Mm.
strategic, have a really good assistant that can help keep things away from you that
Mm.
are not necessarily long-term strategic things. Because, when you're in a lot of these jobs, everybody wants a little piece of your time. And so
Yeah.
the ways that I navigated this is something that I work with people in my coaching on is
Mm.
setting goals, being consistent every single day with the things that you need to accomplish with those goals. A checklist. ADHD people do really, really good with checklists. And if you can go down a list every single day, I did this, I did this, it's like daily
Yeah.
bread. Checking off these things on a list that you do, adding
Mm.
the appropriate things, taking away the appropriate things, and having a little bit of time for play, spontaneity during the day, but
Mm.
not too much. So when you're looking at your life in a long-term way where you're being held accountable
Mm.
for your goals, you know your goals, they're very, very clear. People around you know what your goals are, and you
Mm.
have the kind of assistant working with you that understands you a lot and can help keep things off your plate that don't need to be taken care of right now. That's the
Mm.
way that you really can navigate this sort of thing at the higher levels of things.
Exactly, exactly true. Yeah, that's so powerful because I think we often hear that narrative that success means fitting into a mold. Uh, so you are definitely flipping that script and showing that success can come from working with, not against. So your nature. So yeah, and men often struggle with seeking help. So whether it's therapy, coaching, or even just opening up. So, from your experience, why is this so difficult for men with ADHD? And how can we break that barrier?
When you have ADHD,
Mm.
through your life, you suffer various different levels of rejection. Rejection
Uh-huh.
from peers, rejection from a system. And each time, I mean, it hurts. It really hurts.
Mm.
And as a man, what do? We have to be tough. We have to have some level of resilience. We have
Mm.
to just kind of grin and bear it. It's part of what manliness has kind of become. It's not a particularly healthy attribute of
Mm.
the construct of masculinity right now. And what happens with men who have ADHD is that you end up feeling
Mm.
stupid, less than others, like you're not able to accomplish what other people can, and you end up having a little bit of an inferiority complex a lot of times.
Mm,
And so it kind of drives you away from seeking the kind of assistance or help or going, gosh, what is going on inside of me that I
mm,
can't remember things, that I can't prioritize things, that I sit here and scroll all day because I just need that dopamine hit so badly. And so when you're talking about the lack of going and finding things out about yourself, number one, it becomes a little bit normal for these gentlemen to have
mm.
brain fog and not think anything of it. It
Yep.
becomes a little bit normal for them to have relationships that come and go and that they're just
Mm,
focusing in the moment on things and kind of going in a million different directions. And they end up just calling it normal instead of
mm,
going, I keep forgetting things. I'm very disorganized. I walk into a room and I forget what I'm doing always.
mm,
And I know that I was trying to clean out the side room because I ended up cleaning the kitchen. This kind of, I need to do this, and then I need to do this, and then I need to do this, and then I need to do this undisciplined kind of tornado of things that we end up doing.
mm,
Number one, it's important to recognize something's going on with me where I just have a difficult time following through with things, organizing things, and making things
yeah.
happen. The second thing is, where do I go to deal with this? Who would understand me? And that's really a part of what I do as a coach is to help people that are finally realizing, gosh, I need to get a hold of this. I need to
Mm,
figure out what I need to do with my physical body, with my exercise, with my nutrition, with any medicine that somebody would need to seek. And how do I organize my office, my space, my room, my
mm,
relationships? And actually do that. The problem comes with men just going, I just simply need to try harder. I just need to
mm.
be tougher. And that doesn't serve men.
True. Lovely. And what advice would you give to someone who knows that they need help but feels stuck in shame or fear?
Shame or fear becomes a piece of our identity. And it's
Mm,
a dangerous piece of our identity
yeah.
because it's the piece of our identity that constantly says we can't or we shouldn't, or there's something that we need to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, grabbing a hold of the next rung of the ladder, getting yourself a great coach, great therapist,
Mm,
it is you taking control of your life and finally saying something's got to stop this spinning that I'm doing. And I would definitely recommend that the men listening, if you're dealing with this kind of thing, I just can't seem to get myself organized. The women in my life are always kind of yelling at me because I'm forgetting things all the time. Has that been a chronic problem all of your life? Were you not a very good student, even though you particularly tend to be relatively bright? Do you have, are you able to listen to a book and get it
mm,
right off the bat? But reading it is just an arduous, I never finish the book kind of process. You probably have some sort of attention related issue that you should sit down with a professional who's got a ton of experience in it and
mm.
look into it. Doesn't mean that you're any less of a man, doesn't mean that you're somehow labeling yourself with some kind of victim mindset thing. It means that you're actually taking control of your
Yeah.
life. And so that you can actually do something in your life that helps you get where you want to be.
Hmm. Wow. So your life story is filled with reinvention from rebellious kid to therapist to CEO to now a coach and thought leader. So, how has ADHD fueled your ability to constantly evolve?
Because I always love to learn.
Yeah.
I always love to learn new
Yeah.
things and to challenge myself and to get to a new level.
Hmm.
People with ADHD tend to get bored because we
Yeah.
have this incredible ability to pattern recognize. And so we
Hmm.
get into a position in a corporation and it very quickly becomes perfunctory and non challenging.
Hmm.
And in the space where I am now, I get to evolve and I get to do several different things. And I've
Hmm.
gotten a certificate in psychedelic medicine, and it's a really interesting world of spirituality and mind expansion. And it has an incredible
Mm,
application in the world of ADHD because many people with ADHD have a really difficult time with being mindful and meditating. And when
mm,
you are working with a plant-based medicine or something like ketamine, you are able to focus immediately on your internal world and take inventory of how you feel and how you connect to your greater spirit. And it's really an
mm.
interesting world that the ADHD person has had a real difficult time accessing because meditation is so difficult when you have a difficult time focusing. So for me, it has been reinvention over reinvention because my mind is so constantly stimulated by learning new things and becoming a different version of myself and
Mm.
constantly pulling myself up.
Understood. So, for someone who feels stuck in their current chapter, uh, what's your advice on taking that first step towards reinvention?
Number one, take out the trash. Take out the trash in your life. Take a look around you. What is the trash? What is the stuff that you wouldn't have in your kitchen? Number one, what is the
Mm.
garbage that you're eating? What are you drinking?
Yeah.
What is that stuff that you're poisoning your body with? Is it fatty foods? Is it alcohol? Is it weed to excess? Is it stuff that's not going to help you and your brain focus on thing? Take out the trash in terms of bad relationships in your life. Are the top 5 people in your life people who lift you up, people who
Mm,
raise you to the next level, people who hold you accountable in a positive and loving way? Are these people who want to see you
mm,
succeed? And if these people aren't that, if they're old people in your life that just simply have kind of been around, sometimes need money from you, always need attention, never have anything positive to say, take out the trash in the relationships in your life. If those relationships are not things that are feeding you, you need new relationships with new people. Number three, take out the trash. You need to organize your living space. Is the place that you work a place that is organized? Is your work fulfilling to you? Is the place that you live a place that is clean? Do you make your
mm,
bed every single day? Do you empty the trash throughout the week and so that your
mm.
your work and your home space is actually clean? These are the steps to begin taking to really reclaim the power in your life so that you're the one in charge. Replace the trash in your life with really good things.
Lovely. And so I mean, for all the listeners who is listening today, any advice you would like to mention, to give?
So everything in your life
Mm,
requires choices. And the choices that come are mainly about how do you
mm,
elevate your life to become a higher version of yourself.
mm.
We have coaches in high school that help us with volleyball, with weightlifting, with marching band, all these different things. Then we may go through college or not. And
Okay.
then we have a boss. Okay. Your boss is not your coach. Your boss is
Mm,
somebody that expects certain things out of you. And if you don't do your job, your boss says, thank you, you can go to a different company now. But having a coach in your life, having somebody in your life that can help not only recognize the incredible things that you are able to do, but can hold you accountable to
mm.
those things, help you set clear goals, help keep you on the right track. If you had a coach back then, why wouldn't you invest in somebody now that can help you raise your vibration, get you to the next level, not only physically, but in your personal relationships, in your professional world, in your spiritual life, get you
Mm.
to the next level so that you're functioning as the higher version of yourself, not just one that is stagnated in your life.
Yeah, perfect. So, Jeremy, this conversation has been an eye-opening, inspiring, and incredibly empowering, I would say. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your story with us. And for the listeners, if Jeremy's journey and insights resonated with you, I encourage you to take action, whether it's reaching out for the support, exploring alternative therapies, or simply reframing how you see yourself. You have the power to rewrite your story. So be sure to connect with Jeremy through his podcast, Mindful Mutiny, or check out his books and coaching programs. And hey, do not forget to subscribe to Mind Over Masculinity for more conversations that challenge, inspire, and empower you. So until next time, this is your host, Avik, signing off. Thank you so much.